Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, is another Star Wars movie review. Today we're tackling the beginning of the sequel trilogy, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Now this is also the one that's right there, so there you go. Now I just want to be clear, I love the prequels and I love the originals. However, I have a few problems with the prequels and I have one or two issues with the originals. However, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Disney fan or because I'm a sequel, you know, I'm biased. No, I genuinely believe that the sequel trilogy is flawless in a lot of ways. In this film, in terms of a review, the Star Wars The Force Awakens gets an easy A+. I have zero problems with the film. Now, The Last Jedi is my favorite of the three and my favorite film ever, but I'll get to that next. But in terms of an actual film, in terms of like me actually looking for mistakes, I really can't find any. This is essentially, in my opinion, a flawless film. Now, going to certain things that I found really interesting, I think R2-D2 being kind of turned off, you know what I mean, just kind of in I guess, instant on mode, so to speak. He's actually looking for the map. A lot of people are like, oh, how come they know where Luke is on Ahch-To? Well, first of all, they don't know where Luke is on Ahch-To. They have a hope that he's there. They don't actually know. It turns out he was. And then you also get the fact that R2-D2, you know, magically finds the map. Well, and C-3PO mentioned earlier in the film that, you know, essentially R2-D2 was, you know, kind of in, I guess, like I said, instant on or standby mode or whatever. He was off, but he was also kind of on. It's like when you put your Xbox on instant on mode. That's what I was saying when I said that. But essentially, R2-D2 is searching for the map, which is kind of cool. That's how he finds it. I always was under the assumption that he was just completely off, and then he turns on. He's like, I found it. But it turns out he was looking for it when he was, again, on-off mode. Pretty cool. Rey Skywalker, or Rey Palpatine, or in this film, just Rey, is... look, I think Rey, Finn, Poe... Not Poe in this film is good. He really becomes a great and legendary character in The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. In this film, he's basically just a Wedge Antilles Han Solo hybrid. I don't got a problem with that, because he's really funny, he's really cool, you know, he's a good character, but, you know, he doesn't really have kind of his, I guess, emotional maturity until the next film. Finn, on the other hand, you know, Finn, he's a stormtrooper, FN-2187, and we find out that, you know, he really was kind of like the dude who mopped the Starkiller Base and all that, the First Order. And Finn is one of the best characters in all of Star Wars, easily. Because in this film, he was born, and then he was kidnapped, and then he became a stormtrooper, right? That's what happened. And then, you know, he essentially is just doing, like, menial, dumb tasks until his first mission on whatever planet that was, Jakku, where you see, you know, Finn and all the stormtroopers murder all these civilians who were opposed at it and all that, and, you know, Finn just like, nope, I'm F that, we're done. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that. And he throws his blaster down and he decides not to fight and he runs and he escapes with Poe. However, Finn, while having a good heart, you know, oh, I gotta get away from the First Order. Of course, they're evil, right? They'll slaughter us. You don't know them like I do. It turns out that actually Finn's big moment in this film is that he wants to run. Maz Kanata even literally says it. He wants to run away. He doesn't want to fight back. He just wants to get the fudge away because he knows the power and the veracity and the velocity of the First Order. You know, he knows that they'll just completely F you over. And they do that. They destroy Hosnian Prime and they just murder 1 billion people on all those planets. So they're capable of doing that. But, you know, in this film, and we get, like, in The Last Jedi, you know, we'll talk about it, but in The Rise of Skywalker even, a lot of people say Finn was underutilized, or, you know, Finn was treated on the back burner, or Finn didn't have anything to do, just screaming Rey. That's all, again, objectively incorrect. I think you don't have to think Finn is the best character, but Finn does things in this film. Very quickly. Finn in this film, Stormtrooper, turns good, wants to run. Last Jedi, he decides, DJ, maybe I shouldn't do anything. Rose, maybe I should do something. And then at the end of the film, he decides that he wants to fight. That is the big character moment. When he kills Phasma, he says, Rebel scum, he has chosen his side. Very important. And then, of course, The Rise of Skywalker, everyone and their mom was like, oh, Finn should have taken the ex-stormtroopers and, you know, just taken all the ex-stormtroopers and went crazy on Exegol. It should have been like this big stormtrooper coup. Well, I hate to break your bubble, but that's exactly what happened. Jana and all the other people on Kef Burr, whatever, Finn takes them and he essentially does that. He rebels and he resists against the First Order at the end of that film. So Finn's arc is truly fantastic, and I cannot... Yeah, I get it, Finn's Force sensitive. People wanted to see him become a Jedi, but look, people need to stop reviewing films as what they wanted to see versus, or, you know, what we could have got versus what we did see and what we did get. Because what we did get is Finn having a fantastic character arc throughout this trilogy. Poe, again, he doesn't really do a whole lot. You know, we'll get him in the next film. But Rey, great character. Again, Rey is, again, speaking in objectives, Rey is objectively not a Mary Sue. That's just, you know, it's just like saying the sky is blue or the earth is round. It's just, that's the fact, you know. I guess you can disagree, but you'd be wrong, you know. And again, I hate being that asshole who's like, you're wrong, I'm right, but... You know, like, for example, you know, you don't have to love this film. You don't even have to love the sequels. You can like them, you know, don't hate them, but you can like them or dislike them, you know, it is what it is. You know, I dislike 1 and 2 compared to the others, but I still like them, you know. It's just how it is. But, yeah, Rey is a great character. She is essentially the best audience surrogate that we've ever seen in our entire in my entire life, period. Because Rey is essentially us, you know. She's basically a blank avatar in this film. And, yeah, technically when Kylo Ren, you know, interrogates her in the chair, that's when the dyad forms. That's when she gets uber powerful. But... You know, how can Rey fly the Falcon? Well, she's flown ships before, and look, let's be honest here, most ships are exactly the same when you're driving them. Some are a little different, but, you know, if you drive a freaking 1970 Camaro versus a 2022 whatever, a freaking Escape or, you know, whatever, an old car versus a new car, generally, you should be able to do it. You know, there's a stick shift, there's a thing, you step on the gas, you're done. You know, it's fairly common stuff. And I know ships are a little different, but for the most part, most ships are kind of flyable. And to be honest, Rey is scared a whole of a hell of a lot during this trilogy, but especially this film. She fights Kylo Ren. Oh, how did she beat Kylo Ren? She's a Mary Sue. No. Again, Kylo got shot in the abdomen, he just murdered his dad, and Rey, the Force is with her. She's essentially perfect. And we do see in The Rise of Skywalker that, you know, Kylo would have killed her, but again, Kylo didn't want to kill Rey, he just wanted to take her to Snoke, and so that's why Rey won the fight, easily. I mean, there you go, it's over. Again, how can Rey fly? Well, she's flown before, she's done little like, training things when she was a little girl in one of the canon books or comics that I read, which is kind of cool. We do see her that, you know, she's fighting a bunch of Unkar Plutz's thugs to save BB-8, on Jakku, so, you know, that's easily why she can do that stuff. I mean, you know, she's scared a lot, you know, she gets that Force vision in Takodana and she freaking runs in the forest. A Mary Sue does not run, a Mary Sue does not get scared, she gets scared a lot. In fact, when she's fighting Kylo Ren on Starkiller Base, the first, like, 3 hits are like this, and the rest is just her on the offensive, just completely trying not to get killed, you know what I mean? And then, of course, she wins in the end, but... we all know how that happens. Again, I truly believe people who think Rey's a Mary Sue, I think they're just insane. Like, there's no reasoning with them. They're either Disney bad, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And look, let's be honest here, Disney didn't make this trilogy. Disney owns the trilogy. Lucasfilm made the trilogy. Nothing has changed. I hate when people go, oh, the Disney trilogy is really... No, it's not. It's just the Star Wars sequels. Plain and simple. No one says, oh, the Fox trilogy. You know, now they don't go, oh, you want to watch the Star Wars prequel Fox trilogy? No one does that. It's just hate for Disney. That's all it is. But I do think, honestly, like I said, Rey is a fantastic, fantastic character. Everything she does makes sense. There is no, oh, she's a woman, therefore she's the best, and she's strong because she's a woman. No. She's strong because we know that she's strong from either reading other materials or just having a frickin' brain and saying, oh, well, she's 20-some years old, she's clearly thin, she's clearly athletic, she's beating the crap out of thugs. It's just, you know, I mean, it's just applying a little bit of thought to these things. It's really not that hard. I can make a whole video about Rey, but I can't because I got to review this film. But I do think that all the characters are great. BB-8, all the new characters are fantastic. Like I said, BB-8, Finn, Poe, Rey. I'm trying to think. Even people coming back like Han and Leia, fantastic. You know, I think Carrie Fisher, this is one of her best performances in Star Wars. I think she is better in The Last Jedi, but, you know, she didn't have a whole lot to work with The Rise of Skywalker because, you know, she died, but sadly. But it is hard to, you know, oh, I think The Force Awakens is definitely second, you know, when I really think about it. You know, The Last Jedi, #1 for her acting. This is definitely the second best. Harrison Ford is great as ever. You know, that death scene, it's not only a shocking and dramatic death scene, it's also perfectly layered upon. You know, Kylo Ren literally tells him, I'm being torn apart, you know. I can't do it, you know, I know what I have to do, but I don't know if the strength to do it. Can you help me? He says, yes. So in Kylo's demented little heart, again, from manipulation from Snoke, a.k.a. Palpatine, Kylo thinks that if I kill my dad, I'll be perfect and I'll feel fine, but it only made him worse. Not only did he get shot and scarred, it also, you know, emotionally, internally scarred him as well. And I think Kylo Ren is easily... the second best villain in all of Star Wars. Palpatine is my #1. I think, I know, shocker, I do think that Kylo Ren, his music, the actor, the acting, the costume, the fact that he actually murders people a lot, the fact that he's really evil and he's very a three-dimensional character, all of that also describes Darth Vader, but I do think that Kylo Ren is a superior villain to Darth Vader. I know, crucify me, but I do think that's true in my opinion. And in this film, a lot of people go, oh, he's just a whiny bitch. Well, it's like, yeah, well, that's kind of the point, you know what I mean? That's the point. You know, Luke and Anakin were the same freaking way. You know what I mean? They both whine like babies. Now, I never really got the sense that Kylo was whining like a baby when I saw this film. Like, you know, yeah, he's got anger issues and he beats the crap out of the computer and he sees Rey and he goes nuts. But that's just him being mad because he's evil and he's part of the dark side. That's all that is. Again, Kylo really, again, when you watch the other two films and then you even read like the Kylo Ren comics and the novels and all that, just, you know, extended stuff that still fits into the canon, it paints an even better picture. But you know, the fact that Kylo Ren is evil, not because he's just evil because of writing. He's evil because, well, we'll find that in The Last Jedi. But there's a lot of reasons and, you know, really great evidence as to why he's not just a bad guy. He wants to be good, but everyone keeps shoving him, and he really can only find help in Snoke, aka Palpatine. And it's a really great character for sure. I think every single character in the sequels is flawless. Even Holdo, even Rose, everyone. I think they have zero flaws. Maybe Janna, but I'll get to that in The Rise of Skywalker. But again, man, Starkiller Base. The movie looks fantastic too. I want to touch about that for a minute because the last film we got was in 2005 with Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And that film, honestly, the prequels, they hold up CGI-wise. I think, honestly, they kind of do. All the movies do, really. I think there's, one or two moments of stop motion, but I think that, for the most part, they all hold up. And this film looks effing great, man. This is a beautifully shot film. I didn't give J.J. Abrams and the cinematographer enough credit because it looks freaking gorgeous, man. The CGI is flawless. Normally, when I watch a Marvel movie, I'm like, oh, the CGI was kind of bad in that one scene, or that, that character looked really rubbery or shiny. The CGI in this trilogy is flawless. I have zero issues with, and it looks photoreal 99 or 100% of the time. I have zero issues with any of the CGI in this trilogy. It looks fantastic. The acting is fantastic. The best acting we've seen so far. The best writing we've seen so far. Again, we've never had characters this complex. They're all complex. Jar Jar Binks, every character has a backstory. I'm not saying the prequels and originals didn't have that, but this film, a lot of care. And I know they didn't have a plan. Maybe they didn't, but when you, honestly, if you watch 1 through 9, one movie a day, it will all make sense. If you have a brain that functions, it will. I promise you. Because if you watch, today I'm watching Force Awakens, I already watched it, but you get the gist. Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, yes, Rey's a Palpatine, or Sky, nobody, then she's a Palpatine. You can see that as a retcon behind the scenes. I don't. I just see that as film's progressing, but I do think that, honestly, it all makes sense. Everything in this trilogy works. And to start off this strong is fantastic, man. Like I said, acting, writing, CGI, the way the film looks, just the cinematography is outstanding. The fact that, we actually have real tension. The fact that stormtroopers are effing lethal. I don't fear the stormtroopers in the originals. Because they're like, look, they're droids, and they're all missing. Yeah, they're evil and they're murderers, but I'm not physically scared of them. When I see the stormtroopers in this film, that first shot when they're in the hangar and they're just blasting away civilians and there's just blood and you see, blaster holes and it's just like a massacre. I'm scared of these stormtroopers, I am. Captain Phasma is another great character. If you read the book Phasma, really paints a really great picture about her character as well. So really, I could just stand here, I could make a video all day talking about how I love this film. Again, I have zero issues with it, and that's not me being oh, you're a sequel trilogy lover, you're biased. No. I love everything Star Wars, period. And I can admit when something in Star Wars has flaws. I just did it for the last 6 films. And I love the last 6 films to death. But this trilogy, especially this film so far, in terms of my, rewatch and really looking for issues, I cannot think of a single one. Again, The Force Awakens gets an A+, and I cannot wait to watch my favorite film of all time, again, for the millionth time, The Last Jedi. You probably know how that review is going to go too, but I'm probably going to give all these films an A+ from now on. But that's not the point. I really like talking to you guys about the character arcs and the just the motivations of these characters and all that. It's really, really cool. And looking at this poster here, C-3PO with the red arm, How does he get that? Well, play Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. Poe Dameron, when he blows up. How does Poe get from Jakku to the Dakar and Resistance? Well, play the Lego Star Wars Force Awakens game. It's all canon. It's really, really cool. It turns out he was, shot from a TIE fighter, the TIE fighter that crashed on Jakku way far away. and he, essentially just woke up in a tribe, and they took him in. So there's so many really awesome things, like Maz Kanata. How'd you get that lightsaber? It's not lazy writing because, technically maybe, but they covered it in a future thing. So Maz Kanata goes to Bespin, and a bunch of the Ugnaughts, when Luke got his hand chopped off, they find it and they give it to Maz. So that's how she gets Anakin's lightsaber. Again, everything makes sense when you think about it, when you read stuff. I get it. If you're just watching the movies and you're like, wait, it doesn't make sense, you could see it as a flaw. But it really isn't a flaw, because if you go out of your way to find out more about the universe, everything makes sense. And that's the beauty about Star Wars, especially the prequels and the originals. The way they were made, they were like topsy-turvy, and they still make sense. It's freaking awesome. Same with like Solo in Empire. He's like, oh, I'm a card player, and you wonder fair and squares. Just little things. It really makes the universe feel more alive, and this film is just another great example of that. It uses nostalgia. That's another thing I wanted to mention real quick. A lot of people are like, oh, it's the same thing as A New Hope. It really isn't, but I get it. There's a big thing in the sky. I understand. It does feel similar to A New Hope. However, I don't think it's lazy, because, I think that J.J. Abrams did a very good job at making the film feel like a nostalgia hit for those who grew up with the originals or just saw them recently as adults or teens, whatever. And those who, just wanted to see a brand new, almost a reboot of Star Wars, even though it's a direct continuation. And the sequels will always be canon, by the way. We see that really awesome moment where it's like, wow, Finn's got a training droid, or just little callbacks like that, where again, it doesn't feel lazy to me. It feels like they're trying to honor the past and build something on it as well. I think, again, I really don't have any issues with the film. I think it's very, very well made, and seeing it for the first time in 2015 blew my freaking mind, and it still blows my mind to this day, man. Every single scene is amazing, and just paints an amazing picture, for what we're going to get. Luke has vanished. He went for the first Jedi Temple on Octo. We're on that next with The Last Jedi. Cannot wait to talk about it. And again, I'm not biased. I promise you. I love all Star Wars, but I can admit when things are having flaws in Star Wars. Like I said, I've done it, and I genuinely can't think of anything. If you have any thoughts on The Force Awakens, what do you like about it? What do you love about it? Tell me in the comments down below. I cannot wait to play it in LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. Coming out very, very soon. I think, like, what, 2 days? Two or 1 day, depending on when I post. So still, can't wait to cover this in the game, and I cannot wait to watch the rest of the sequel trilogy. This is a great film, and, it will always hold up. Again, I think a lot of the people that hate this film or hate the sequels, either they're blinded by their hatred, like Palpatine or whatever, or the dark side, or they just don't understand it. And if you really go out of your way to watch one a day, or all three in a day, or whatever, and you read the books, and you find out more about the world, find out why Finn is a sanitation guy, or find out why Rey can fly a ship, or why Rey can swim for a second, or why Rey can, fight people, and she's very capable. And again, when she gets in the Falcon, she's not like, I got this, she's literally smacking the ground. She clearly struggles, and again, that Mary Sue argument is it's just pissing in the wind. It's just complete hogwash, and I'll never understand those people, but still, I cannot wait to watch the rest of the film. Again, I mean, it was probably like 25 minutes of me just saying it's a perfect film, but I really do feel that way. I'm not just saying that. And I do think that, these characters, the CGI, the story, everything just works. And I cannot wait to rewatch The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. Thank you guys very much. Cannot wait to cover the last two films. And then we're going to probably move on to Solo, Rogue One, and the Clone Wars film. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.